When we look back on 2025, I have said time and time again this year that 2025 was legitimately one of the worst years creatively, not only for WWE, but AEW. Pro wrestling in general in 2025 has been, for lack of a better term, a shit show. Nothing about 2025 in a good way was memorable at all. On the eve of John Cena's final match ever in WWE, on the eve of his retirement tomorrow night on Saturday night's main event, I figured I'd throw this video up today because it's a situation that when we all look back at 2025, we're going to go and pinpoint this one exact moment and ask, what if? This may be the biggest what if of the entire year. It may be one of the biggest what ifs of all time. John Cena and the heel turn at the Elimination Chamber for the reasons that they did it, which led to the inclusion of Travis Scott. And we saw Travis Scott help John Cena win his coveted, all-time, record-breaking number 17, 17th title win against Cody Rhodes at the biggest show of the entire year. And it absolutely was the biggest fail for a WrestleMania and a WrestleMania main event that WWE may look back on in its history. Ever. One of the worst ever. John Cena said, I don't care. What difference does it make? Those are the questions that we asked, and that is the answer that he gave. Who cares? If John Cena didn't care about number 17, then why are you exclaiming to us, the fans? Why are you bothered by how much we care or don't care? So Logan Paul exposed Travis Scott, and he went into detail about why Travis Scott never showed his face in WWE ever again. I think I have a damn good reason why he never showed his face in WWE ever again, and we're going to talk about it today right here on Off the Script. It is your Friday, December 12th, 2025. Logan Paul reveals the original Travis Scott WWE plans for his one and only match in WWE following WrestleMania. Now, John Cena has been very political in the replies that he has given any questions that have been aimed his way. He's been very quiet on the Travis Scott front and what his intended involvement would be with WWE that fell through earlier this year. But Logan Paul, thankfully, gave us the exact reason as to why Travis Scott went goodbye. Cena spoke with Chris Van Vliet in a podcast released on Monday, which was very good. John Cena is a fascinating interview. It's incredibly fascinating to see how he dances around the question that is asked, an important question that is asked, gives you a little bit of an answer, but doesn't really answer the question at all in a way that a human being would answer the question. He is one of the most conducted and just straight and narrow suit and tie interviews that you would possibly ever listen to. It's quite the fascinating listen. So this was a good interview on Chris's behalf anyway, because Chris asked the questions, and I appreciate that very much. He refused to go into detail about what the original creative plans were for Travis Scott in WWE. Now, he was supposed to be a significant part of Cena's shocking heel turn earlier this year, aligning with him at the Elimination Chamber and then helping him defeat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41, on the way to becoming a 17-time world champion. Scott would then disappear from WWE television, however, with reported plans for a potential six-man tag team match falling through at Money in the Bank. People in WWE have made it thinly veiled comments about what happened with Travis Scott, and Logan Paul took it upon himself to provide additional details on his impulsive podcast. So he says this, and I quote, "I was very excited, obviously, for him to enter the WWE, and we were supposed to team up with one other person. It was supposed to be Logan Paul, Travis Scott, and John Cena. against Cody Rhodes, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso in a six-man tag team match. It ended up being John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso in a tag team match. So that's what we got. So it was supposed to be 3-on-3, and the day that it was supposed to be announced, he didn't show up. This was the first time that anyone has noted publicly that Travis Scott did not make a scheduled WWE appearance. I think what happened is, says Logan Paul, my guess, he probably realized at some point that it's really physically demanding and it's really hard work. It's a lot of work. It's probably too much commitment for someone who is a rock star of his caliber. Like Bad Bunny loves it and put in the time to become a good wrestler. We also had Jelly Roll, who did his due diligence and didn't go in there and stink up the joint. And he actually gave us a decent showing at SummerSlam when he teamed with Randy Orton against Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. I thought that was quite entertaining. Outside of a shit SummerSlam, that was one of the highlights of the entire show. Sadly. Bad Bunny loves it and put in time to become a good wrestler who was also an outsider himself, says Logan Paul. Wrestling is a lot about navigating pain. It hurts, and I think at some point, Travis probably realized it's pretty hard. I would like to see him make a real run at it, but yeah, I think that's what happened. I think Logan Paul may be the only one who wants to see Travis Scott make a real run at it. Nobody wants to see him make a run, period. Scott aligned with John Cena, and that was set to be a major storyline for WWE television throughout the summer, and it would make sense that Cena is the third man Logan Paul was referring to, like I mentioned. It was reported that Scott had been training at the Performance Center for a match later in the year, with the expectation being that he was going to be a part of a tag team match featuring John Cena and Cody Rhodes, who he busted his eardrum at the Elimination Chamber, did Cody Rhodes. Travis Scott busted Cody Rhodes' eardrum. Paul's inclusion draws some lines toward the original match that may have been in the works. At Money in the Bank, Cena would team with Logan Paul to face Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso in a 2-on-2 tag team match. It's likely that was intended to be the six-man tag team match at some point, but Scott pulled out of his role in the company. Travis Scott was also removed from WWE 2K25 as a result of the split in their partnership. Now, we'll get into that in a second with what Logan Paul said. But I also have some of the quotes from John Cena's Chris Van Vliet interview. Chris asked him, was the heel turn planned in all of this 2025 before we actually hit the year? No. That stuff you see on Unreal is real. We needed to make the chamber big, so let's do something that'll shock everybody. Hey man, we got this idea. No problem. I'll do the best that I can. Were you excited about it? Chris asked, are you excited about it? He says, Cena, I'm excited about everything. I like the riddle. You see my stuff. I'm not exactly the most gifted athletic performer. I give you all I got. I mean, how impersonable can you be? Are you excited about it? It's either a yes or a no question. I'm excited about everything. Nice to know. Nice to know that you are fake. How did you feel about the turn and the months that followed? Chris asked. John Cena says, this is just my perspective. What I like is people are talking about it. Again, a very, very political answer. And the cool thing is, people who are critical of it apparently had some idea in their head about what they wanted, which was great, because that means you're attached and that means you care. I enjoy that, and I hear the criticism. When we did it as a big moment, but with a purpose. Now, if you did it with a purpose, then there would have been a follow-up. You did it in your eyes with a purpose to sell tickets and then don't have a follow-up. In my opinion, that doesn't mean you did it with a purpose. So what was your purpose? If you do something with the purpose, that means you're going somewhere because of that purpose. You have an idea in your head about where you're going to go after you do the initial thing. Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that way. I don't know. I don't agree with that at all. Hey, this is going to ignite something with you and Cody. It's going to start in February and end in August because you only have 36 broadcasts and Intuit and Rumble are gone. So now we're down to 34. Then we need some on the back end with you actually being a good guy. So let's take it down to 24. We kind of had to tell a story that should be 2 years long, 52 weeks a year, plus 14 to 18 PLEs. We got to do it in like 20 episodes of television. Okay, so it took my focus on Cody, on the championship, and on the frustrations that I had, and it all comes from a genuine place, things I could say. I'm so happy to say that I wouldn't retread the course because I gave everything I had. My poor wife, she'd wake up in the middle of the night writing promo lines and thinking about spots and stuff. The opponents I had were great, but I remember everyone talking in February and being like, this is how things change. Yes, this is a good plan. Okay, guys, if I'm going to ruin this thing, I am going to wrestle methodically, and I have an idea of ruining, or an idea of what ruining wrestling really means. He's excited that people were talking about it, good or bad. He didn't really give himself to Chris in this sit-down when it came to this question. How do you feel about the turn in the months that followed? What I like is people are talking about it because then that means they're attached. That means you care. I enjoy hearing that criticism. So then you should be absolutely okay with us telling you that it was a pile of dog shit. Because that's exactly what it was. And you should be okay with fans like me who are questioning why you say you don't care when it comes to you winning number 17. What was the original plan for The Rock and Travis Scott? John Cena replies, who cares? It doesn't matter. We can talk about what could have been until the cows come home. And I think that's what's great about the people who are left standing, certainly me and Cody. What's the change? All right, let's go. I don't dwell for 1 second on what could have been, because what could have been is Brock doesn't leave for the NFL and there's no John Cena. Could there have been a match with The Rock? Could there be anything? That's the thing that sucks about what could have been. It's not what it is. Was it talked about at all? I don't care. It's the second time in the same sit down within minutes, he answered a question saying, I don't care. First of all, I'm always last to know. It doesn't trickle down to me. If you watch it on Real, that process is genuine. I talk to The Rock, and then the last guy I got to call is John. I'm usually the last guy they call because I'm the easiest. Yeah, let's do it. No problem. I'm in. So I don't sweat the small stuff. Yo, we don't have these guys anymore. Cool. What do you want to do? We would like to do this. We need you to start being more competitive. We need you to start putting in these matches. We're going to build to this. That's over. I didn't even get that. Okay, fine, great. What are we doing now? That's what's tough. I think it's great to talk about. It gives good argument. It gives good perspective of like, how do they book this stuff? A lot of that stuff's beyond control of even the people who own the sandbox. The only part I agree with in what John Cena said is that it takes 2 years. It's going to be more than 36 dates to convey what they wanted to do as far as episodic storytelling. You could not turn John Cena heel and make it make sense in March and then have him retire as a babyface in December. The turn initially would be great, but without a proper follow-up, it was never going to go anywhere. And if you already had this imagination of him being a good guy after being a bad guy to start the year, a good guy to end the year, how do you do that without it actually being fucking confusing? How do you do that and legitimately make it make sense? There's a lot of talented people that WWE brought on to write their programming. I'm sure they could have come up with something that made sense. They refused to just not even acknowledge it come August, right before we got to SummerSlam, and legitimately a week before we got to SummerSlam, it's like they flipped a switch. Like you walk into your office dark and you turn on the light switch and the lights are on. That's exactly what they did in regards to Cody and John Cena. One Friday Night SmackDown, he was not a bad guy anymore, and all of a sudden he just shed all that bad guy and says, I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you the real John Cena. listen to this and I say, if we got the real John Cena for 12 months out of the year instead of 5, this retirement run wouldn't have been as bad as it really was this year. Would it have gotten stale and boring at some point? Would we have gotten to the end and said, yeah, I think it's time for Cena to retire? Yes. Yes, I genuinely believe that. But if he was putting in matches like he did with AJ Styles and Sami Zayn and Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes, and I'm assuming Gunther tomorrow night, I don't think a lot of people would have ended up complaining. I don't. You don't hate WWE enough. You don't. You know, I will sit here and I think I have been a beacon of honesty. I have given you guys over the course of 6-7 years now doing this full time. I have given you my honest, genuine self. I have never given you an opinion that I don't stand behind. I don't sugarcoat anything. A lot of why I get into trouble is because people find me to be too honest and too real. A lot of opportunities haven't come my way that I would really want and I feel like I'm a good fit for, because the way the world works is they don't want people like me. They don't want people who are strong in opinion and are very honest in what they believe. They want people like John Cena. They want someone who's going to interview like John Cena and just give you this fake nonsense, this political suit and tie bullshit type of reply. They want you to dance around the question without actually giving your real feelings on a certain topic. You don't hate WWE enough because they put their hope and their faith and their trust in someone like Travis Scott. Which I'm assuming they put their hope and faith and trust in Dwayne Johnson, who then got Travis Scott involved because Hollywood, I'm sure they stick together. The Rock detailed that Ari Emanuel, the head of TKO, the head of Endeavor, Ari Emanuel called The Rock and needed The Rock. He absolutely needed The Rock for the Elimination Chamber in Toronto. He says that he needed The Rock for something big because they had an extra 8, 9, 10,000 tickets to sell. Now, I see it from TKO's perspective. Not only do they have to answer to the casual fan base and deliver a quality product, which they have not, they also have shareholders to answer to. And if the Elimination Chamber isn't meeting shareholder expectations, if they did not deliver what the shareholders expect this show to sell in the midst of John Cena's retirement, then they would be in trouble. And Ari Emanuel doesn't want to answer to these people. He's just going to do. He's got to do what he's got to do to make these people money. They enlisted The Rock to do this angle with Cody Rhodes, which came up literally out of nowhere. We need you. Let's come up with something. They came up with it within 3 or 4 weeks. And they came up with the whole, I'm going to sell your soul, or Cody's going to sell his soul to The Rock. That's the storyline. I want your soul, and I want you to be my champion. We didn't know what the fuck it meant. We didn't know where it was going, but it was intriguing. We all, as a fan base, were looking for that same feeling that we got last year, which was great. Cody finishing his story, the final boss, the mess that was when it started, and the beautiful creation that was when they finished. Everybody was so fucking thrilled and excited about what happened at WrestleMania 40. When we saw The Rock going into WrestleMania 41, we were all like, all right, it's going to happen again. We're going to get some great story. That's all we wanted. The Rock knew what he created last year was fucking tremendous. And it was born out of giving the fans what they want. We wanted Cody to finish his story. We didn't want Rock versus Roman. And it ended up beautifully. Everything ended up beautifully. So when The Rock came back this year, us as a fan base felt that same excitement to see him again because we know what he created last year was so great. But this year, he took everybody for granted. Oh, I don't need to tell a story. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to have a follow-up. They're just happy to see me. We got those very intriguing yet confusing promos and this almost psychotic final boss, to where we got to the Elimination Chamber, and Cena turning heel was such an unbelievable moment. I mean, in the last 20 to 25 years, I don't think you can pinpoint a WWE moment that would be as shocking as that. It's the second greatest heel turn in the history of professional wrestling. The only one that is better is Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach when he aligned with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, forming the NWO. We didn't see anything from The Rock after that moment. He went absent. Weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of build for WrestleMania 41. Not a single word from The Rock, not a single appearance from The Rock, not a mention from Rock on social media in regards to WWE or WrestleMania at all. John Cena cuts these promos, which, looking back at it, nothing really is going to stand the test of time there. Nothing is going to be as memorable as what he did at the Chamber to go back and rewatch. He didn't say anything that was, oh man, I got to go back and watch that 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You're going to go back and listen to those promos. No, you're not. And you're bullshitting me if you say you are. They hit in the moment. And that's exactly what they said they wanted to do. They wanted to hit in the moment. The heel turn in the moment. The promos in the moment. Looking back at it now, everything sounded so forced. It made sense then because we were all desperately looking for anything. Knowing that we only got John Cena, we didn't get The Rock, we didn't get Travis Scott, it was just John Cena out there all by himself, and it took him 3 weeks to finally mention The Rock, and not in the way that we all wanted him to. Then we get the match. The match itself was fucking garbage. Cena and Cody at WrestleMania was one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time. It will go down as one of John Cena's worst matches. It will go down maybe Cody's worst match ever. This version of Cody. And one of the worst WrestleMania main events ever. Ever. With Travis Scott coming out with no Rock. Like The Rock needed to be there. The Rock needed to be at WrestleMania. The Rock was needed to make sense of everything because you asked Cody for his soul. Cody told you to fuck off. And Cena willingly took Cody's spot in giving you his soul. And then there's no follow-up. And John Cena is now retiring. And The Rock still has his champion and then doesn't. And now he's back to being a good guy and everything is seemingly forgotten. You're asking the fans to move on from it? You don't care? I don't understand how you could give a reply like that. How you look back at that WrestleMania 41 main event with you winning number 17. Who cares? You don't care about breaking the record in the main event in your final year, winning the WWE title at WrestleMania from Cody Rhodes, who had this great story last year. You ended his story. You don't care? You don't hate WWE enough. And this is the part that pisses me off the most. Ari Emanuel and TKO tasked The Rock to come on in to sell an extra 8, 9, 10,000 tickets, whatever it may be, for a moment that they had absolutely no follow-up on. It's the fucking Elimination Chamber. It is the Chamber. How much more do you need to tell me that you don't give a fuck about the actual WWE product and all you give a fuck about is the back end? Us fans don't give a fuck about the back end. As far as we're concerned, you're making way too much money, more money than you know what to do with. I don't give a fuck how much money they're making. The one thing that we value the most is our time. We give you our time every single week. And you disregarded our time and pretended like it was meaningless. That's why we're upset. That's why people are still upset. That's why people will be talking about this in the most negative light at the end of the year. And every ounce of negative criticism that is aimed towards Ari Emanuel, Dwayne Johnson, John Cena, TKO, WWE, Cody Rhodes is all valid. You have no right to tell me what you think of us and our opinion. None. Every single one of you fucking failed. You asked him to show up to sell extra tickets for a show that didn't need any extra tickets sold. People were there to see Cena. You had 2 chamber matches which sold themselves, with CM Punk and John Cena in the Elimination Chamber. You had a major story play out in the beginning with the Women's Chamber. Everything could have been left alone. No, but instead you wanted to do it there with no follow-up. I would have rather not see Cena turn heel at all. And if you wanted a fucking moment, and if you wanted something to go off and be fucking spectacular like it was at WrestleMania 40, why did we need to do it at the Chamber, and why didn't we save it for WrestleMania? How stupid does it look that you asked The Rock to come in to sell an extra 10,000 tickets for the Elimination Chamber and then fucking disappear? Have Travis Scott bust your champion's eardrum and give him a black eye at the Elimination Chamber to then just go and disappear without a fucking word? Showed up at WrestleMania and then disappeared. You couldn't do everything you did at the Chamber at Mania? Instead, we're now talking about one of the worst WrestleMania main events ever. Instead, if you saved it for the Chamber, or WrestleMania rather, instead of the Chamber, if you saved it for WrestleMania instead of the Chamber, everything that you did there would have been fucking, you would have left people speechless at the end of a WrestleMania. You wanted to follow up the biggest WrestleMania main event maybe in the history of the company, and that's how you follow it up? I don't know why they just didn't substitute one for the other. Triple H put his hope and his trust in Travis Scott, a non-entity in the world of professional wrestling because he's some world-renowned rapper. When are we going to stop giving trust to these non-entities to come on in here? You got fucking lucky with Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, bro. There are not many that are cut from that cloth. Look at Travis Scott. What did you expect out of Travis Scott from an in-ring perspective? What did you expect from him teaming up with a John Cena and a Logan Paul? How ashamed should The Rock feel? Abandoning the fucking product after giving us something with this grand story and grand direction possibly involved to go and disappear, and WWE left to scramble to give us that dog shit ending and then dropping John Cena's entire heel act in the process so that they can ride out the rest of his retirement run as a babyface. I don't understand how anybody went about this entire situation and it just became a thought. It happened, and there was no planning involved. Cena's heel turn wasn't planned. They came up with it in the spur of the moment. Travis Scott, spur of the moment. The Rock being at the Chamber and coming up with this soul storyline, spur of the moment. Not one single idea had a fucking direction to where we go after that in mind. And they want us to shut the fuck up and enjoy the product that they give us. Meanwhile, everything that they did this year from point A to point B up to where we see this John Cena run finally ending has been a complete fucking fail. If you are not bothered by the fact that this company, it simply enlisted Dwayne to sell tickets with no fucking thought about where this may end up, I don't know how you sit there and aren't fucking pissed off as a fan. I genuinely don't know how you just haven't thrown your hands up in the air and just stopped watching. And believe it or not, I get a lot of people telling me, man, I stopped watching. I thankfully, I have you so that I could keep up with what's going on because I refuse to give them my time and my money. Logan Paul basically admitted Travis Scott walked out of WWE because he couldn't do it. Is that the reason? Or did he walk into a realm where we were never going to allow him to get away with what he thinks he could get away with because of his celebrity? How much hate did Travis Scott get after that WrestleMania appearance? How much hate did Travis Scott get because Dwayne didn't show up when he needed to be there at work? How much hate did Travis Scott get because he was a part of one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time? How much hate did Travis Scott get because he's the reason why John Cena won his tainted number 17? Travis Scott can get in there and you can take a look at him. He's his fucking stick figure. He would have never amounted to anything in the pro wrestling in-ring perspective at all. But I think the hate and all the social media negativity certainly pushed Travis Scott away from ever wanting to be a part of what WWE was creating here. And you can all go right back to when the Chamber came to be and Ari asked The Rock to be there. If there's one thing the company needs to do going into 26, they need to realize that you should not be putting your hope and faith and trust and resources into these fucking D-grade celebrities. And moments can only get you so far. Did they learn their lesson? I don't think so. I hope that they learned their lesson. Moments are great. There's a moment that happens in the moment and you know it's just a moment. But a moment like that moment is going to live in the annals of history as the second greatest heel turn of all time. And then that moment had absolutely no follow-up. So it turned into one of the greatest heel turns of all time and one of the worst runs of all time. One of the most disappointing runs of all time. There's a moment that happens and it's great and we celebrate it and we cry about it and we fucking embrace it. And it's just in that moment. And it's something that's going to be looked back and watched over and over and over again, and it's going to become traditional. And then there are moments that happen, but they absolutely 100%, no doubt about it, need a fucking follow-up so that it may create another moment. Whether it's for that person who made the moment or someone else that you want to make a moment for after that. WWE did not follow this up and make a moment for anybody. The only moment that was made was in the moment, and it fucking failed because of greed, corporate suit and ties, only wanting to rob the fans more of their money and resources and time, and Dwayne taking us for granted because he was there last year and we were simply happy to see him this year. And he knew we wanted to see him because he made Mania special last year. And we wanted that same special feeling again this year. And what did he do? He neglected us. He took our collective wants and desires and hope and fandom, threw it away. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to go win this Golden Globe for Smashing Machine, and I'm going to film this fucking movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, and you may or may not see me again until Saudi Arabia, where I'll come back for my biggest payday ever to wrestle my cousin, and then I'll say goodbye. Triple H really needs to lay down next to Stephanie at night and come up with a fucking plan about how we can make WrestleMania 42 the main event that we're talking about for the next 10 fucking years. How do you top what you did at 40? I don't think it could be done. But motherfucker, you better be fucking in the office after hours coming up with a scheme and a plan to correct what you did last year. 41. You better be on your way to fixing what you did last year because We, as a fan base, are never going to let you live that shit down. And if you don't think this WrestleMania main event is going to have a fucking microscope underneath it, if you don't think we're going to be ready with our fucking guns pointed and aiming at you, ready with the criticisms, you got another fucking thing coming, man. You don't know who the fuck you're dealing with. Good riddance to Travis Scott. Never wanted him there. Never even fucking heard of him before he showed up on WWE television before the Chamber. And thank Christ he is no longer a part of the fucking product. Him, his stupid fucking look, comes out with this hardcore championship looking like some fucking absolute wannabe backyard wrestler. Some indie mud show outlaw garbage fucking performer. Him and his fucking stupid fucking music. Nothing that Travis Scott would have added anything substantial or great to the product. Just another one of those things where WWE can rub elbows with their top-tier celebrity friends so that they could look cool and their egos could be boosted. Fuck off. Fuck off. We want our time well spent. How about you put that at the top of the priority list this year? Travis Scott was never going to make that feel substantial or make that feel warranted. Good on Logan Paul for exposing this shit. Good on WWE for fucking just getting away from this Travis Scott bullshit. And never getting this to where it could have gotten a lot worse. But man, oh man, I tell you. They need to sit down and rethink their plan and their strategy. Everything will be there as far as story. If you tell a proper story, I guarantee you the tickets would be there. Ticket sales, fandom, the audience, the ratings. All we want is genuine story. That's all we want. We want that feeling of 40 again. How exactly do you plan to get us there? Stop taking us for granted and stop treating our time as if it's inconsequential. Our time is our most valuable asset. You're wasting it. And all through 2025, you've done nothing but waste it. Fix it. Thank you guys for your support. I wanted to get this out there today just to A, get content out there, and B, I thought this was a good enough topic to make a video on. So hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Right before Cena's retirement tomorrow night, Saturday night's main event, I will be live to cover it all. Every detail, every match, every feeling, every emotion will be live tomorrow night. Hopefully you guys join me. Tonight, I'll be live for Friday Night SmackDown on the eve of John Cena's retirement tomorrow night against Gunther. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications, and please go out there and check out all the other content on the channel. Plenty of it, including yesterday's LA Knight outrage, fan outrage, and WWE seemingly confused as to why LA Knight fans are upset at them. Go and check it out. I give you all the reasons why. Until tonight, guys, I'll see you live for Friday Night SmackDown right here on OTS. I'll see you guys later.